All right, and welcome Hoosier fans to another episode of Doing the Work, your first official Indiana women's basketball podcast on the Back Home Network. Joined here today with a very special guest, Chloe Moore-McNeil. So we don't have any pretense today, Chloe. We just are going to jump in and we're going to ask some questions, and hopefully you can tell us some fun stories and see where things go. And we'll try to be respectful of your time. I'm sure Jeff and I both agree we could probably keep you here forever, but I am sure you don't want to talk to two old farts like ourselves for forever. So we are going to keep it short and speak for yourself. That's cute. So Chloe, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, especially in your summer break. I'm sure you have a lot of things you could be doing that are much more enjoyable. But so Chloe, we know you're from Greenfield, Tennessee, right? And you're getting ready to enter your senior year. But we're wondering if you go back in time into the Wayback Machine, what actually got you started in basketball?
I would say I've had a basketball in my hands really ever since I could remember. I did try out some t-ball a little bit, but that got boring really fast, so I just stuck to basketball as long as I could remember.
And Chloe, I'll kind of piggyback off of that. Let's take you into your high school years. And when did you really first, kind of two-part question for you. When did you first start getting recruited? I mean, seriously recruited by some of the Division I schools. And then a little bit more about what it was like for when Indiana first started reaching out to you.
Yeah, so I think I received my first Division I offer in 8th grade. And then I would say my recruiting was really busy and got hot, I would say my sophomore, junior year after we had won our state title in our division. So I would say when IU came, I had already had a lot of offers, but they came later in my recruiting process. So, and I started talking to the coaches during COVID, which made it, a lot harder because I couldn't see anybody face to face. I couldn't take any kind of visit down there, but I really just trusted my process with the coaching staff and the girls, and I picked them.
Awesome. Do you remember your first offer?
I believe my first offer was the University of Tennessee Martin and Union University.
So, Chloe, did you play AAU basketball? Were you doing the travel basketball, and how did that go for you?
Yes, sir. I believe I started doing travel ball in about 4th, 5th grade. But I think what really helped me, grow my game was I always played, 2 age divisions ahead of my grade. So.
And just kind of follow up with that. Was there somebody, you were talking about your recruiting, was there somebody who was kind of that either a mentor for you or somebody that was from your area that you had seen that it had gone Division I that you were able to kind of follow and see how that went for them?
For sure. I think Greenfield is really blessed with a lot of mentors. One of my high school coaches, Tara Tansel, she is, a big part of my life and a mentor in my life because she was really successful at University of Tennessee Martin, and she's going to be in the Hall of Fame really soon. So,
Yeah. So, Chloe, you've mentioned UT Martin a couple of times, and here recently we just picked up a transfer, Sharnice Curry-Jelks, who's joining the team as a transfer. Did you know Sharnice before she started with the team, and how far back do you know her, and what can you tell us about her?
yeah, so I've would say I've known of her since at least high school because we would play against each other. But then my senior year, when I played travel ball, Sharnice actually joined and we played on the same AAU team. So,
Yeah. So what kind of things do you expect Sharnice to bring to the team then this coming year?
I believe I expect her to bring energy, a positive attitude every day, and just bring her hard work ethic.
Yep.
And kind of piggyback off of that a little bit, Chloe, you've been around some of the real leaders of Indiana women's basketball here over the last few years. Now you're a senior. What have you kind of learned from Grace Berger and Allie Patberg and Alexa Goldbay and some of the others that have been around?
Honestly, the list could go on because they've taught me just so many things on the court, but off the court as well. Any of them, I needed them. They were always there for me. So just bringing the leadership role that they brought to me, just, being very encouraging and just showing the younger players, to just work hard and be consistent every day.
So, for your own philosophy, what pieces of that do you want to take into your senior year as you are probably going to be looked at to provide that same leadership to the rest of the team?
Yes, I just want to provide stability for my team, and obviously encouragement and just positivity. But I want to be the type of leader that anybody would feel comfortable going up to and asking questions, whether it be in practice or off the court.
And I know talking with Grace a couple years ago, that Allie Patberg was kind of that person for her. It kind of took her under her wing. Has there been somebody that you've been able? Was there somebody who kind of took that they came and took you under their wing? And is there somebody now that you're kind of like, hey, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to Cook Hall, let's go?
I would say throughout the years here at IU, I've had plenty different mentors and people like that. But I think the person that comes to my mind that I think I was the most close to was Nicole Cardonio Hillary, because I came in my freshman year and she came in the same year as me as a transfer. And it also helped because we lived together, but she was also, just a vet, had great experience, had great years at George Mason. Like she was just always there.
So, do you have a favorite story from Nicole that you could share with us? That by that laugh, I'm guessing yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's for public consumption, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say me and her made a lot of memories. She was definitely one of my closer sisters, I have to say, honestly. Like I said, there's a lot, but what comes to mind about Nicole is just her energy. Even in practice, she was always finding a way to, lighten the mood or make somebody laugh. So, yeah.
And Nicole was kind of, when she first kind of showed up at Indiana, she kind of had that. First of all, she had the reputation of big time scorer at George Mason, but she was seen really more as a defensive player when she
Yeah.
got to IU. And you've kind of become known as the defensive stopper at Indiana. Were you always somebody who took pride in your defense, or was that something you really learned from Coach Moore in the program?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. That's definitely something I learned when I got to Coach Moore and IU in general. I mean, I've grown over the years my confidence in my defense, and I've taken a lot more pride for sure.
Can you
Yeah.
just explain? I'll just follow up with that. Can you just explain a little bit? And I know you can't give away secrets or anything like that, but is it just an attitude, or is it something you drill, or is it a combination? What would you say really makes Coach Moore in such a, I mean, defense is what the program's known for. How can you explain that?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's a both a combination of, an attitude and like I'd said earlier, just consistency and just working on it every single day. That's one big key that Coach Morton has for all of us is just getting reps and putting the work in consistently is a big thing. I would say
Yeah.
over the course of my years, just my attitude and my confidence became more and more, over stronger over the time. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that really showed off this last year, right? And in particular, you made that Big Ten defensive team. So congratulations, by the way, on
thank
that,
you.
and
Thank you.
well earned, well deserved for sure. So, in particular, we thought that first home game against Iowa was really fantastic with your defense on Caitlin Clark. Everybody knows about Miss Clark, and what were your thoughts after during the game and after the game? And really, I thought you did a fantastic job on her. So, what were your takeaways from that game?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, everyone knows Caitlin Clark is one of the greatest players to come across the Big Ten and Division One basketball ever. I respect her. I respect her game. My biggest key for her on defense is just, players like that you can't necessarily stop, but you just have to, make them work for every single bucket they take.
Mhm.
Just make them become slightly less inefficient. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was definitely apparent for sure. She did get her points, but you really made her work for that. So that was really a fantastic display of defense. So the whole year though. So congratulations to that
thank
as well. But kind of piggybacking on that, defense has become kind of what we're really knowing you as. What is one area of your game that you would like to get better for in this coming season?
So we had our end of the year meeting not too long ago with the coaching staff, and we had kind of discussed a few things about me personally, but things they think I need to, I can always improve every part of my game. But I think the biggest things for me is being consistent with my perimeter shooting. And I think this year, my role, I want to become stronger in not only creating for myself, but just creating for my teammates as well.
And speaking of the year-end meeting, congratulations to Coach Box on his, moving on to Miami. I guess, what can you tell us, just maybe a couple things about Coach Box that maybe the fans, even Kathy and I, who think we follow the program pretty closely, what can you tell us about Coach Box and how you think he'll do at Miami?
I think he'll do really well. Coach Box is somebody that, he's really behind every game plan that we have. He's a great coach. I respect him. We're all going to miss him, but I really can't think of any other coach that deserves a head coach at Miami of Ohio than Coach Box.
Yeah.
I want to go back real quick, Kathy. I'll go back to talking about Caitlin Clark. Just a couple others, maybe, Chloe. I mean, obviously that Caitlin gets a lot of the publicity, but who were a couple of the other tougher guards for you during the Big Ten season?
Let me think. I would say from Illinois, I think her last name was Cook. She, the first game we had, the home game versus Illinois, we didn't underestimate them, but they played, they gave everything they had, and they are a really great team. And specifically Cook was one I remember, she was one of the tougher players to defend for sure. I would say her, Leah Brown from Michigan, she had a great size, great mid-range. I mean, it was tough to stop her as well.
Yeah. So here's a fun hypothetical question that we have for you. So who would be more successful, you guarding Mackenzie Holmes one-on-one in the post, or Mackenzie trying to guard you on the perimeter? So, and following up on that, that's a hypothetical, but maybe not. Have you ever played one-on-one, and how did those games go if you did?
We've necessarily never played one-on-one, but I will say when we do scrimmage against each other, I'd rather have her on my team because I think there's a better chance at her guarding me than me guarding her. Really, all I can do is cross my fingers, hope and pray.
Hope she misses.
Exactly.
Well, now you'll have to challenge her to a one-on-one game and report back to us, and let us know how that turns out for you both.
And Chloe, you were talking about the year-end meeting as well. Kind of get back to that a little bit. One of the things that I felt like that just showed up on the stats this year, and kind of toward the end, even last year, not this past season, but the year before, was your 3-point shooting really started to kind of become a real weapon for the team. Is that something that you've been working hard on?
Yes, for sure. I've been working on my arc range, also my mid range, but I think for both of those areas, I can always get better at them. So I'll be working on that still, for sure.
Yeah. So earlier, Chloe, you mentioned that you really want to start being more of a facilitator. And we saw that coming out this year when Grace was out hurt, and you really had to pick up and take on more of that point guard responsibilities. So looking forward to this coming season, what expectations do you have for the team in terms of who might maybe shoulder the bulk of the point guard, or will it be more of a point guard by committee? Or what are your thoughts on that position specifically?
I'm not really certain, but I think it'll be more of a point guard by committee, me, but we also had Lexi Bargerser as a freshman last year, and her and Lily, I'm honestly so excited for them this year. I mean, they really got better every single game, but also when, nobody's there, nobody's watching, practices, individual workouts, they were always getting better, always wanting to ask questions and to be in the gym. So.
Yeah. And do you think that's important for your young kids coming in? I mean, I don't want to say their names because I'm sure I'll butcher them at this point. Amendola and Kathy, help me a little bit. The Amendola girl and the other recruiter.
Lene
Beaumont. Thank you. I was going to, but anyway, do you think that's something that is that something that the older players taught you, or that you guys have been impart to somebody like Lily and Lexi, that how important it is to ask questions and try to soak up as much knowledge?
For sure. I know me personally, that was my freshman year, but I just kind of, freshman year was a sponge. I would watch Grace Berger, Allie Patberg, Mackenzie, Nikki, Alexa, all of the veterans, just watching the way they operate, the way they handle their business, the way they're consistent in the gym, every rep is hard rep. That's the kind of role model I would like to be for our younger players.
Yeah. So speaking of Grace, again, and we know the impact she's had on the program, and she's left the program. Obviously, she ran out of eligibility, so I'm not sure she had a choice in the matter. But she's doing great with the Fever. But from your experience, maybe is there one story that really comes to mind that exemplifies for you the impact Grace had on you in your IU basketball career so far?
Honestly, it's There's never been one special talk that me and Grace have had because we've had plenty of talks and she's given me so much advice. But I feel like when I look at Grace, she's more of a showing what she can do rather than talking about what she can do kind of player. Just seeing the way she was is kind of what's helped me be when I want to be as a leader.
Yeah.
I want to go back real quick, Chloe. Again, just because we don't get a chance to see some of the kids as much, obviously, as you do in practice and the games, but we saw Lily got quite a bit of playing time as the year went along. But maybe just a little bit, tell us what you think about what the upside is for somebody like Lexi, because this was a young lady that was coming off a knee injury, and I'm not sure we really saw everything that Lexi's going to be capable of doing.
For sure. I completely agree with you. I feel like Lexi has so much potential. She was a great prospect coming in, but honestly, the sky's the limit for her. She puts in the work consistently, literally every single day.
And just really quick, talk about recruiting a little bit. Now that you're on this side of it, you get to be the host. What's it like when, and again, not specifics to the point to people, but just kind of what's a typical recruiting visit like for a player that's being looked at by IU women?
Yeah, it's actually pretty simple, but we love to pack the day and give the recruits as much information as they can. Make sure the most important thing is to make them feel comfortable and welcome. But just taking them on tours around campus, on some of our favorite spots to eat, popular spots to eat around Bloomington. Even sometimes we like to work out in front of them just so they can kind of get a taste of what it would be like if they came here. So,
Do you have a favorite restaurant if you were going to pick one in Bloomington that you'd always want to go to?
I'm a big pasta fan, so I'd have to go with D'Angelo's.
Yep. Awesome. Kind of on the flip side of that. So Jeff was asking about helping new players come in and recruiting. We talked a lot about how you're going to help mentor, the younger players and already have so far. But since your time at IU, a lot of players have come in, but there's some that have transferred out as well. For you specifically, though, in your experiences with Coach Moore in Indiana, what has kept you at Indiana to make your playing time there so enjoyable that you're sticking around and you're coming back for a fourth year?
For sure. I think my two biggest things was realizing the opportunity I had if I'd be patient and consistent. The people around me, honestly, my freshman year playing time wasn't even anything to me. I was honestly just starstruck that I was on the same team as Grace Berger and Allie Patberg and still on the team with Mackenzie Holmes. So freshman year, yeah, I didn't really think about that. I was blessed with the opportunity I had.
Yeah.
So you already mentioned you'll be coming back to campus here a little bit later this summer. So you're an exercise science major. Have you got your degree yet, or are you still in the process of getting a degree?
Yes, I'm still in the process of getting my degree.
So what would be kind of the career goal, hopefully, with that? I mean, obviously you want to play basketball for as long as you can, but what would be kind of long-term, what you want to do with the exercise science?
So yeah, long term, I would like to be an ultrasound technician. So I'll be looking for some sort of 2-year program after basketball and then hopefully land a career in the ultrasound technician field.
That's very specific. So are there specific schools that you're looking at, or is it too soon to start looking for that? I don't know anything about ultrasound technicians other than I've had them performed on me a lot. But as far as becoming one, what does that really entail? You said it's a 2-year program. So I'm assuming there's specific programs specialized for that. Are there some on your list that you're looking at?
So unfortunately now it's kind of in the process where it's a little bit too soon. I can't really find schools right now. That's more of, after college basketball thing. So,
yeah. And are you wanting to focus on more like doing ultrasounds in terms of helping people in sports medicine, or is it more general than that you would like to concentrate on?
I'm leaning more towards it being more general right now, such as ultrasounds like sonography with babies or even just hearts and diseases, something I'm really interested in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've had this. I had one time. They did the echo, what they call an echo, with the cardio, basically a sonogram with ultrasound with your heart. And that was to watch your heart go through. Yeah, that was got my attention. So what's a typical? Go back to, or you mentioned, I shouldn't say typical. I'm getting tongue tied here. But Chloe, you mentioned that you were living with Nikki earlier in your career. Who's, like right now, I assume you have a group of girls that are living together. You guys all share an apartment or rooms or a house or something?
Yes, sir. We live in a beautiful house. Actually, living with Grace Wagner. She played on the team
Mhm.
my
Yeah.
freshman and sophomore year, and then her younger sister actually is another roommate of mine.
Okay.
Awesome. So off campus, I assume then you said a
Yeah.
house, and that's great.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what's a typical day right now for Chloe look like in the summer? What do you do? Like, are they pretty regimented, or do you just wake up and do whatever you feel like?
I mean, I guess that's the freedom of it being summer. I wake up and kind of have more free time and things, but at the end of the day, it really just consists of the same thing. Make sure I eat well at least 3 times a day, a workout, and then sometimes I just like to chill with family, and then sometimes I just like to hang out with friends. So
Yeah.
pretty simple. Yeah.
Now,
And
great. Go ahead, Kathy. I'm sorry.
when do you have to go back to campus then?
I will be back on campus June 4th for
Okay.
our first day of summer workouts, which will be June 5th.
Yep. All right. You're almost there then. Enjoy your last days of freedom then.
Now, like right now, you're home, but do the coaching staff, does strength and conditioning give you a workout that your work that you do while you're even at home?
Yes, we have the best strength and conditioning coach. He's always got everything prepared, ready for us to go once we are going home. He'll send us a whole month schedule of all the conditioning workouts, all the agility workouts, all the lifting workouts. He's one of the best, honestly.
Yeah.
And it just kind of go back to, we were talking about Coach Moore, and Kathy asked you about Coach Moore and people in and out. But so did you guys give Coach Moore some razz about when she broke her hand or her finger earlier this year?
So it's actually funny. One day we were all sitting in the film room about to watch film, and she just walked in with a cast, and she was like, "I'm just gonna let you all know right now, I did something I regret doing." And she was like, "I'm just gonna show you how I did it." And then next thing you know, we're watching film, and it's Coach Moore in slow motion slamming her hand down on the table, and we're just like,
Yep.
"Oh, okay, that's nice." So
Yeah. That was during the Iowa game, right? Is that what
Yeah.
yeah.
So we know she's pretty intense. We all, and I think that's one of the things that the average fan likes about this program is the intensity Coach Moore brings to it that she kind of gets you guys to play with. But is there a funny side to Coach Moore?
Oh yeah, she'll show it here and there. She has a little bit of a goofy side. You just have to catch it.
Yeah. Do you have a funny story you can share with us that would give us a good example of her funny side?
I would say after practices when we huddle up, she always has her quotes and stuff. But she just always gives off just little jokes here and there. She's really slick about it, but it's if you catch it, it's fun.
Yeah. Subtle humor. So
Yeah.
kind of staying on that Coach Moore trail. So we all know, as Jeff mentioned, and by your story of the broken hand, she's quite intense. So what is it about your upbringing or your basketball background that really allows you to thrive in an environment that requires that kind of toughness and willingness to be coached by someone who is so intense?
Yeah, I would say for sure that I'm under just a female coach. The way she goes about her business, how professional, how successful she is, the experience she has even playing at Purdue and stuff like that. But yeah, that's really what I'd say.
Yeah. So is she very anti-Purdue now, though, with our rivalry with them?
I mean, I think she will always, beat Purdue at heart, but
Sure.
you would never be able to tell. It'll always be one of the biggest rivals even for her. So
absolutely.
Is there anybody on the team that's a trash talker?
Yeah.
Are you?
Oh, not at all.
Okay.
I would say somebody that, you really wouldn't expect it maybe, or you wouldn't notice, but trash talker was Grace Berger for sure.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, all respect, because I loved it. She could back it up.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
And sometimes you just you may not necessarily, it wasn't too obvious sometimes, but you could just see sometimes when Grace would make a play and there would just be a little bit of a look in her eye and you could see her lips move.
Yeah. So who's going to take her place this year? You think you'll pick up that mantle, or is there someone else waiting in the wings?
I think I'll let somebody else take that over.
Yeah, totally get that.
Now,
Um,
go ahead,
yeah,
Kathy.
that's all right, Jeff. Go for it.
I was just curious, like, and I'm not looking for you to name anybody specifically, but if you're guarding somebody who wants to try and trash talk you, does that get you a little more fired up?
I would say it just depends, for the most part, I just laugh it off, let it go. But if it's a rival game, I never say anything first, but
Right.
somebody
Yeah.
says something to me, I just feel, obligated to say a little bit of something. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So reflecting back on last season, it was a monumental season for the team, for you individually, for others on the team as well. And there were a lot of big moments. There were a lot of really big games. The North Carolina game, the game at Tennessee, the Iowa game, the sold out Purdue game, come just off the top of my head. But for you, which game is there maybe from last season that will always resonate with you and stick in your memory that you'd say, you know what, that was the most memorable game? And why would it be your most memorable?
No doubt, when we played at home versus Ohio State, that was that atmosphere, being on that court, it really gave me chills, and that energy that the fans brought was some of the best literally in the country. Just being versus Ohio State, I believe they were ranked number. I'm not even remember, but they were ranked ahead of us for sure.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that left a bad
Face
taste in
something
my mouth.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That was really all the motivation we needed. But once we started playing in front of that crowd and just the atmosphere, and in that third quarter when we made our run, it
Yeah.
was a surreal moment. I remember literally running back on the court and almost having to physically plug in my ears because it was that loud and it was that painful, but it was amazing. It's something you really can't describe.
Oh, that's great.
Being from Tennessee, and I'm sure you had heard all about the University of Tennessee mystique growing up. What was it like for you to go back and play at this, on the court that Pat Summitt made famous?
It's fun, and it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Not everybody is fortunate to play at the University of Tennessee on the Pat Summitt floor. And it was also fun because, I had a big home crowd, not just for me, but two of my high school teammates who were siblings, the Darby sisters, they
Oh, yeah.
played
Yeah.
for the University of Tennessee. So it was great seeing, our community there playing against them. It was just fun all around.
Yeah. Kind of sticking with the Tennessee theme. There's a former men's basketball player from way back when you might probably have not even been born, but he's also from a small town in Eastern Tennessee. His name is Kirk Haston. Have you heard of him? And have you guys met if you have?
I don't believe I've heard of him at all, actually.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'll take it to the next step here. Let's go back to the Big Ten a little bit, Chloe, talking about road places. Outside of Simon Scott Assembly Hall, where's your favorite gym in the Big Ten to play in, and where's the toughest gym to play in? And it may be the same, but just,
I would say the toughest gym is definitely the Hawkeye Carver Center, just playing against Iowa. They had a lot of sold out crowds as well. Great crowd. That atmosphere is just something not everybody gets to play in. So I was very fortunate to have that. And
I was at that game, Chloe. You're saying I didn't drown out the other Iowa fans?
Yeah.
I tried. So that's the most intense. Sorry, I interrupted you. What's your favorite?
You're fine. I would say my favorite would either have to be just at Iowa, just the kind of rival and kind of game that is, or even Purdue. I feel like I've had some of my best games at Purdue.
Yeah.
I think that's the number one rival, and I just like the feel that Jim has.
Yeah. And the Iowa game this year is even more intense, right? Because you had game day there, which doesn't happen. They rescheduled just for that. So yeah, that was quite the atmosphere for sure. So,
Yeah.
We're right about at our time with you. Do you have time for one more question? I think we had one more that we might want to get to. So kind of, again, looking at the team and the chemistry, we've heard so much about how close the team was this past year and going into next year. But as you've progressed through your career, is there somebody that really, just one person, took you under their wing and really helped, help you understand the importance of being close with teammates and that type of thing? I know you already mentioned Grace, but are there other folks, as another person specifically that was maybe a mentor to you?
For sure. I feel like I could have a lot of teammates agree with me when I say this. Mackenzie Holmes, for sure.
Yeah.
Any questions, anything, I know for sure that I need, the freshmen needed, she was right there. Even with recruits, just watching her even host, it's just like, wow, I hope to be like her. I really do.
Yeah.
She is a great person inside and out.
Awesome. Jeff, any last minute follow-up questions you have?
No, I just want to thank Chloe for giving us her time today, and really fun for us because this is the first, you are our first player interview we've done here with Doing the Work. So we really appreciate you coming on with us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you. Thank you.
We love following all of you. You definitely gave everybody a lot of joy. Pass that on to the team if you wouldn't mind. There's a lot of people that are really coming along, as you can see the attendance grow, and we're just happy here to continue to spread the word about Indiana women's basketball and how wonderful you guys all are.
One quick question I will ask you, Chloe, and I don't, maybe players don't pay attention, but the seating is going to be more reserve seating, or at least the lower part of the bowl is going to move toward reserve seating. Is that something that you guys have talked about, or at least have noticed, and you guys are excited about the fact that the women's program that you've been here has gotten to the point where reserve seats are being sold?
Yeah, I think that's a big step for not only females, but just the Big Ten in general. We've heard some feedback, so I know that's kind of why we kind of adjusted to that, because we want what's best for our fans. Our fans make us who we are, no matter what, when we're on that court. So.
Yeah.
Right. Again, Chloe, thank you. I won't ask you any more questions and take any more of your time, but thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks so much for being on with us, and I'll play a little music to take us out. But thanks to everybody that ends up listening to this. So we recorded it, and we'll be replaying it both on YouTube and some podcast feeds. So all of our listeners out there, thanks for listening. Huge again, thanks Chloe for coming on, and we look very much forward to seeing you play this year, and maybe we'll talk with you again sometime. Yes, so thanks everybody.
See you, everybody.